Hey, what up? It's Arona, aka Cinematic Cisse, and today I'm talking about movies. Movies to me are more than just a motion picture. Movies are life. Movies have meaning behind it. Many people don't want to see the meaning in movies, but I always have. The Bible says, seek and you shall find. God does speak to you through movies, but the thing is, people don't want to see it. All they see is, oh, it's stupid. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stupid stuff out there, but you have to look for the spirituality in movies. Just like when you read the Word of God, people just read it and then plain and simple like that without really digging deeper into it. You got to keep reading, keep studying. Same concept on watching a movie. If you want to see the hidden message, if you want to hear God's voice, have him speak to you sometimes through a movie, you have to keep watching that movie. You have to keep digging deeper. That's anything in life. Like, it could be a movie that's not even a Christian movie, but I saw the message and the spirituality in there. And but the thing is, a lot of movies these days, they don't really seem to have a lot of those messages in there like movies back in the day did. Like back then, it was a movie about a family, even some superhero movies, a prison movie, action movie. You saw something in there. It could be, don't trust people, value what you have, love each other, make use of the hard times and the good times, small or big. But you don't see that today. All you see really is this vain me. It's all about me mentality and movie. I mean, I know it's been like that for a long time, but today's society is always just promoting that. But if you really want to change that, you have to see it from a different perspective. And also, if you're a writer, you have to put that in there. And don't just give it to the audience. Let them do the work. That's the problem. When people read the word, they don't want to put in the work. Just like studying. I'll admit, I was lazy when I studied. People don't want to sit there and take the time out and research. Because today's society, you got Google, you got all these things. Boom, they want all the information right now versus taking time out. When you sit back and watch a movie, don't just sit there and go, oh, it was just a good movie. If that's what you want to do, that's you. But I'm saying I've always liked to sit there and examine every inch of that movie from top to bottom. I'm that person who stays at the end of the credit until the lights come on because I'm examining the movie. I'll read through the credits. Sometimes there's people in there I've met in person, not just actors and producers in them. Folks I've met when I worked in the as a PA, I know some of them. So it's cool to see that. But like I said, examine every inch of it. Rewind it. Go back. I'm talking about something you have in your home. You don't know what you're going to see. Sometimes age and life experience has something to do with it. You sit there when you're young, you see one thing from a certain perspective, and you get older, you see things from another perspective. When you grow up, you see it totally different. You're not going to see things the same way. Just like when you read the word. You're supposed to mature each time in each season in your life. And same thing with seasons in TV shows. Each season, the character is a different person. Like in Smallville, Clark started off in the 9th grade. He changed each season. He gained a new power that came out of him. Some people fell off in his life. Others came in. Same thing with you as a person. That's how you have to change. And God can use a movie to do that to you. I don't care what no one says. I understand the church is always preaching against movies. It depends on the context. Every rated R movie is not a sin to watch. It depends on the person's maturity level. It's 17 and under for a reason. If they made a realistic movie about the death of Jesus and about Sodom and Gomorrah, that would be NC-17. But would it be a sin to watch? No, it wouldn't. But you got these people in church that want to make everything so sinful. It depends your perspective. Entertainment is not a sin. It depends what you watch. If people want to be extreme about getting rid of their TVs because of sin, get rid of your smartphone. Because you can see more sin on this device than you can on a TV. Everybody don't even have TV nowadays. You could travel and see sin laying down in a hotel room or a truck stop or wherever. You don't have to be on closest on TV. But don't sit there and listen to these people preach against a movie. It's not a sin to watch a movie. If you're a believer, you're watching pornographic stuff or something you're not supposed to be watching, that's different. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, in other words, it's not a sin to sit there and watch an action movie. You can go down the street and see sinful behavior. You could be at your work and see sinful behavior. Everything in the world is not a dang sin. I'm sorry to get heated about that. I've been hearing about this stuff since I was 12 years old. I used to be in that mindset. But thankfully, God freed me from that bondage. I mean, I don't watch any and everything either, but I'm saying, movies, you got to look for the spirituality in there, and people don't see it. That's why I do these sermons. I get spiritual and philosophical with film. I see it beyond a movie. It's life to me. Movies always made me, when I was having a bad day, I would put in a movie and I'd feel better. Hey, I remember those days. I love watching old school movies. Thank God for streaming services. Thank God for something like Tubi. Shout out to you, Tubi. Putting all that old school content on there to have us reminisce on back in the day and show the young folks, hey, this is what movies used to be like. Because like I said, one thing movies are lacking nowadays is story. They don't have those old school stories you saw back then. And that's why I'm glad I see these old movies. That's why I love them so much. My favorite era of movies are 90s, 2000. That's the era I grew up in. And in my opinion, the last era of great movies with storylines. Don't get me wrong. I love all the diversity. The fight scenes are better. All the opportunities to do something. You can have all that, but have a crappy movie. And it's not racial just because a film doesn't have a black person or a person of color in it. Just pretty similar. Biblical interpretation. One reason why people get the Bible wrong because they don't do the interpretation correctly. Who wrote it, when it was written, and why it was written about each and every verse. That's how you have to do biblical interpretation. Same concept with a movie. Like I said, just because there's no person of color in there, when was this movie written? What time period? Where does this take place? And who also wrote the movie? It also comes from a cultural background and their life experience as well. Just like I said, I'm not trying to repeat myself. I don't know why I used to be that way. People say it's always racial. No, it's not. Like the movie with Tom Holland, The Devil. I forgot what it's called, but The Devil something. And it was a pretty good movie. There was not a single black person in there. Was it racial? No. When was it written? The 1800s. Just like Lost Boys. One of my favorite movies. Yes, it's a vampire movie. I only saw 2 black people in the background when they were driving to Santa Monica, and the rest of the movie didn't have a single black person in it. Was it racial? No. Where was it located? In a place in California that probably didn't have a lot of black people, and it was written in a different time period. But I know they do a lot of remakes and stuff, but I'm just saying these people are looking for flaws in these films. Just like you as a person, people are going to look for the flaws in you. You are a movie. People watch your life. People watch you daily. When you raise your hand and say, God, use me, you're going to have a lot of audience. And you are a movie. And everybody has a beginning and an end. And Jesus is the beginning and the end. He is the Alpha and the Omega of our life. And God wrote our life. God is a writer. He instilled that same principle in us to read, write, spell, and come up with these creativities. Every single person has the power of creativity, and it all depends on how you use it. And like Christopher Nolan said, a movie is its own world. Each person in life is their own world, has their own story. Just like there are 8 million stories in the Naked City. A place like New York, millions of people, everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own world. Just like in sequels and prequels, when people die off, they're not meant to be in the next sequel. Just like people in your life, they're not meant to be in your life. They're only in there for a season, for a short time. Just like in a movie, if somebody's rolling up to a gas station, somebody helps them out, that person dies off, or that person just is there for that short time. That's how it is with people. If that person still would have been in the story, it wouldn't have made any sense in the film. It would have been like, why is this person here? Just like there's a reason why God removes certain people from your life. They're not meant to be in your life. They're not meant to be in your story because they'll sabotage you, or they were just meant to be there for that time period. Just like in the Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, when he was bringing back all these people, or had Doctor Strange bring back all the old Spider-Man and all the dead villains, there's a reason why they weren't in these new universes, why they didn't really fit in today's world. They weren't meant to be there. I know there's people out there you wish were alive. There's people I wish were alive, but they're not meant to be here. They're not meant to be in your movie. They're not meant to be in all these things for a particular reason. And when God says cut in that particular part of your life, he means cut. That's a wrap. When he says that it's over. There's nothing you can do to go back. That's called soothsaying, and that's a sin. That's an abomination. Bringing up all the dead people like that. Then they don't say that in those movies. But I'm not trying to go off topic. But all I'm saying, movies speak to you. You just got to see it from a bigger and better picture. Don't let some preacher or some Christian influence you to think everything's a sin. If your gift is to be in movies, that's what you need to do. Because if you don't use your gift and whatever God called you to do, you're sinning. And when you stand before God, he's going to say, why didn't you do what I called you to do? And you're going to say, oh, Lord, the preacher said, this Christian said, and they'll use a Bible verse to even try to make you feel bad. But he's going to say, what did I say? And when you put those people's words, even Christian people, a preacher's words before God, that becomes idolatry. That's another sin. You have to do what God called you to do, not what he called this person to do, not what he called that person to do. I know my Collins movies, and I'm not going to listen to a naysayer. I got 1,000 upon thousands of no's from agents, managers, even actors I reached out to. You think I'm going to let that stop me? It took the creator of Squid Games 10 years to make that series. He didn't let that stop him. And look at it. When that series came out, one of the biggest series on Netflix, when I went to the mall, I saw all kind of Squid Game content. Clothes, shirts, all that stuff. People wanting to dress up in Halloween for Squid Games. And that inspired me. I said, you know what? If he could wait 10 years, I could wait 10 years. Things will come out at the right time. Just like Top Gun 2. There was a reason why it didn't come out all those years. It might not have been well. It came out when it was supposed to. Squid Games came out when it was supposed to. God knows the release date of your blessing. It will come out when it's supposed to. Lincoln Road will happen. Lincoln Road will come out when it's supposed to. I'm not going to give up hope. And don't you give up hope, y'all. We banging.